Mr. President, first and foremost, I would like to thank you and your administration for the Clemency Project 2014. The Clemency Project has given a person like myself a chance to ask your administration for mercy. When a person finds himself in a situation where he must seek mercy, he has to understand how he got there. The decisions I made in my youth to leave school for the street life brought me here today, where I'm asking you for mercy. Mr. President, I remember as a young boy in Chicago, I was living in a household with a mother that was in the street and a father that was never home. As the oldest child, the responsibility of looking out for my younger brothers and my sister fell on me. I took on that responsibility the only way I knew how, going to the streets to make some money. That was my first mistake. I did not want my younger brothers and sister to feel what I was feeling at the time, disappointment in my mother. Me being in the streets led to a night I will never forget. The Chicago Police Department grabbed me off the street and took me to the police station. At the station, the police beat and tortured me in a way that was never supposed to happen to any person, let alone a kid. I was extremely scared, hurting, crying, and throwing up. I remember that day like it was yesterday. At that time, the Chicago police had no respect whatsoever for minorities, and you were at their mercy when they grabbed you and took you to the station. After that day, I never trusted the police. Mr. President, I have made some bad decisions in my life, and I'm truly sorry for them. My bad judgment hurt more than myself as it hurt my whole family. And my whole family has been hurting a long time for the decisions I made in my youth. My son Eric Jr. told me he loves me because I'm his father, but he do not even know me, and he is still hurting. The reason my son does not know me is because of the bad decisions I made in my life, and I was not there for him. I have prayed that my family will forgive me for all the pain I have caused them for the past 20 plus years I've been in prison. Mr. President, from the time I was arrested all the way to the present, I have worked to better myself and understand the choices I've made in life. I am serving my sentence as though I do not have a life sentence. It is my goal to be constructive and positive every day. I have worked in the federal prison industry for 15 years. I have taken every class which the system has made available to me. I have shown my family that one mistake does not define a person. I have equipped myself with the tools I would need to be a productive, law-abiding person once I am released. Mr. President, if you choose to show me mercy and grant me a second chance, I will not let you down. I have learned the trade of welding and have been employed as a welder for a number of years. I will be able to obtain a decent job as a welder when I am released. I recently received reparation for the torture I received at the hands of the Chicago Police Department. The city of Chicago will pay for my children and grandchildren, as well as myself, to attend college. A second chance will give me the opportunity to be with my children and grandchildren. My grandchildren are the same age as my children were when I came to prison. Mr. President, my attorney asked me a question. How does the president know you will not go out and be the old person again? The answer is my grandchildren. I will never hurt them the way I hurt my own children by becoming involved in criminal activity and coming to prison again. I love my family much more than I love the streets. It boiled down to maturity. I'm now in my 40s and I'm mature, and I know now make good decisions in my life. And I would like to thank you, sir, for your time. Mr. President, the most important thing to me today in my life is my family, my kids and my grandkids. Being somebody that they can look up for, to knowing that I made a mistake and I changed and I better myself, and my grandkids don't have to meet me and grow to know me through these prison gates. Since 1999, my faith has kept me going that one day that I'll be able to leave these gates and return to society and be with my kids. I mean, from the day that I hit a prison I look for ways to be able to contribute to my family because illegally I was doing that on the streets and it was wrong. And when I got locked up, they still needed help. And I immediately went and found the best job where I was able to send something home. Because me as a man, I've always been trying some kind of way to be able to provide for my kids and my brothers and sisters. So ever since then, from the streets to the prison, I have been looking for ways to do that and keeping myself, because I was the one they was looking up to, and I had to change all the negativity to positive in here so I can be a better example, because I didn't want them to follow me. I remember, Mr. President, once I had a conversation with Eric Jr. as he got older, and he was describing how he used to go swimming with his friends, and his friends' fathers was always there. And I had to explain that I had made decisions that brought me to prison, but that didn't mean I didn't love them. I just made bad decisions, and I talked to my son over and over, again and again, and he understands now that he's grown that I had made bad decisions, and I had to pay for them. And I try to explain to him that every decision he makes is important. One bad decision can lead to a life of pain. So I try to steer him away by being an example. I got to lead by example. So I changed my whole life for he can see. And every time I receive an award or a check, I always made sure he knew exactly what his father was doing inside these walls. And I wasn't just in here just laid back doing nothing. I was always improving myself so he can improve himself. And when he came and visited me and he told me that he wanted to be a police, I encouraged him to do that, because a man always supposed to want better for his kids. And that's what I want for my son. I don't ever want him to come this way. And for me to lead him, I had to change my ways and be that man he could look up to. Mr. President, when my son told me that he wanted to be a Chicago police, I was proud. I was proud because I knew then that he wasn't in the streets and that he wasn't making the same mistakes I made. And I understood that he wanted to be something different from the rest of our family. And that was the end. That was a new beginning for us as a whole, with him going into law enforcement. And I truly was proud, because I know he'll make a good police. And if you grant me mercy, I would like to be there for him, because I miss his every graduation. And I'd like to see once my son get to walk across the stage and become something, and I'm there with him to show him that I'm proud of him. And I can see, not from in here, but out there with him, the beginning of us as a whole changing, as a family unit, changing to something different. That he'll be the start